the back of your armpits are going to go toward the rib cage, and the armpit area in the front is going to lift up, but the skin on the arm is going to move toward the elbow. So in a lot of ways, your arms are pulling down as your chest is lifting up. It's subtle. And then bring your hands together in prayer. Right at the first, we start a little high, and then we bring our hands down a little lower so that your hands are in line with your belly button, with your waist. Yeah, which makes it a little harder to keep the heel of the hand together, but we don't worry about that. We just do our best. And then once you get there, close your eyes, relax your face, soften your jaw, and allow your mind to help you center your spine. Just be aware of it. And one of the ways we could be aware of it is the weight on the buttocks. Because one shin is in front, is that the heavier buttock? And, buttock is one thing, sit bones are another. So we want both the sit bones to be sharp and bearing equal weight, and the buttocks as well. But then, it is hard because the right buttock, whichever shin is in front, that buttock is going to naturally be heavier and the sit bone is going to be heavier. But you have to take the weight over to the other side. And this is something we will be talking about today. How do you center yourself and distribute the weight correctly? And correctly only means safely, so that your lower back is happy, your hips are happy, and your knees are happy. So with your hands in prayer, in Namaskar, keep your heart lifted, keep your side body long, keep the weight on your buttocks even, and the sides of your feet as well. Breathe, just breathe normally. We're not going to try to change our breathing, but I would say to breathe smoothly. Let your inhalation be smooth, let your exhalation be smooth. Just see how that feels. And then with your heart and your chest very well lifted, bow your head to your heart. Bring your hands down to your thighs. Open your eyes in front of your shins. Bring your head back up. So now I'm going to sit back in my spot, and we will cross our legs the other way. So just cross your legs the other way. And put your right hand, I'm going to mirror you. I'm going to try to mirror you. Always a challenge. But your right hand on the floor, and put your left hand on your waist. So this is just that. We've been doing this for a long time now, as we started enjoying these curves. So, oops, I gotta have somebody come in. So put your right hand on the floor, and you can put it out a little bit, because you're already leaning over that direction. That's fine. And your left hand will come to your waist. And then you're going to do two things. You're going to get your left buttock and your left side body sort of organized, and then your right side body as well, because you're curving toward the right body. You could still lengthen it from the hip down, but from the waist down, but also from the waist up. And then bring your left arm up. Now this is, if your shoulder bothers you or you don't like this, you can keep your hand on your waist. But if you're okay taking your arm up, then take your right hand down and your left arm up. It's like, this is more like, airplane wings. And then take your arm over your head from that left buttock. Don't let the left buttock get light in any way. Breathe. So you're just feeling nice and curvy through the spine, through the side body. Bring your left arm up, and then pull yourself up using that left arm, and put the left hand down. And then we'll start on the other side with the right hand on the waist, the left hand down. And even though we do that, we still pay a lot of attention to the torso. So it's from the right buttock to the armpit. You should feel quite a bit of extension, and it should feel good. And then then on the other side, the left side, You want to also feel the increase in length. It should feel nice though. It doesn't feel hard. It feels awareness. And then if you can lift your right arm up, do, and then with your left hand down pretty consciously and your right arm stretching up. So really feel big and stretched and heart lifted, and then bring your arm over your head. And that's coming from the right buttock now. And so these are nice for the spinal nerves. They're nice for the awareness into your side body. I hope it feels good to you. And then when you're ready to come up, you take your right hand and you pull it up, and then you pull up with your arm so that, you know, you always feel something, but you want to feel like it has been okay. Let's cross our legs now back to the first way. And now we've got blocks, have blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can keep your hand on the floor like we did before. But if you do have blocks, then the choice is going to be at what level your block is going to be. Is it going to be at the low level? Probably not. Is it going to be at the medium level? Possibly. And then the high level, if the other two aren't working. I'm going to use the second level. And we're going to take our right hand. I'm going to move the screen down a little bit too. We're going to take our right hand and turn it up. And we're going to turn the palm of the hand up and the forearm up so that you can feel like you're really turning that up. And then you're going to put the forearm on the block. So you're going to put the forearm on the right block, on the block to the right side, and your left hand on your waist, and stretch through the fingertips of your right hand and lift your chest and extend your right side body. So everything, now that left hip, is it down? Keep it down. And now bring your left arm up. So the left arm goes up, and you should feel your armpit area, and you should feel the side body, and your abdomen should actually be helping you. And then take your arm over your head. So as you bring your arm over your head, then now we've done this before using a different way of doing it, but just see how this feels now. Do you feel a lot of stretch on the hip area? The side sacrum, I call it, from the waist to the hip on the left side. And then do you feel the armpit area on the right side? So then just be there and breathe. And now bring your left arm up. Now here's what I've been doing. I've been taking my right hand, putting it on the block and kind of helping me push up. And then always ask yourself, how do I feel? Where do I feel it? I would imagine we all feel it through what we call the sacral band. Now we're going to take our left hand up, our left forearm up, and we're going to put the forearm onto the block. So that would be at the whatever level that is for you. You know, what you want to do is feel like you can keep this other buttock down. But you also want to feel like you are really trying to get some movement into your body. And then if you can take your right arm up, do that and really stretch through it, really lift your chest. And now take your arm over your head and then see how that feels. And it's coming from the right buttock. So you want to keep the right buttock down. And you just want to feel the smooth extension through the side body on the right side, but create that on the left side as well. And then bring your hand back up. That's your right hand. And now take your left hand and put it on the block and help yourself up. I mean, you don't have to do that, but that's just my thought. Now cross your legs back to the second leg. We're not going to use blocks right now. Well, we might. You might want to put a block behind you because we're going to take our left hand to our right knee. I'm mirroring you. And our right hand behind us. And that's where the block might come in handy because you want to use some support behind you. You know, your arm behind you is a prop. And so then if you want to use two props, you can add the block. Lift your chest up. Lift your chest up, stretch through that left arm. So this is already initiating the twist, but now let's include the belly, turning a little bit toward the right. But we want to stay tall. We want to stay so tall, very lifted through the spine. Then maybe turn a little further. We're going to the right, and possibly the ribs would come along, but keep the torso very tall. And then possibly if you could turn a little further, the chest might be included. So it's very individual because we really want to protect our back and our side body, but at the same time feel really good with this twist. Now, if you could include the right collarbone and spread that sideways away from the left collarbone, that would really complete the picture. And then hold the abdomen firm, the spine tall, and come back to center. And then you're gonna, so then you feel something and you say, what, maybe you felt your lower back a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. Take your right hand onto your left knee, take your left hand behind you for the prop. If you want to add the block as a second prop, do that. And then be centered and tall. Tall is maybe the most important part, because if you're shortening your spine and trying to twist, very unhappy consequences. So chest up, heart up, spine long, start turning to the left, starting with your belly. Start with your belly button. That's what we learn in yoga. We don't turn from the shoulders first. We turn from the lower abdomen, from the belly button. And then breathe. So breathing is included. And then maybe turn a little further using your ribs, noticing your ribs, I should say. And then lift up really tall again and turn a little more. And possibly your chest will turn. And then keep breathing and lengthening your spine. And then possibly your left collarbone will spread sideways away from the right one. If that happens, your chest is really nice and broad. Bring yourself back to the center. One other thing I wonder when you twist, if you notice, the side hips sort of engage too. Okay, so we have twisted, we have curved, we have lengthened, we have done it all. But we're going to now lay down on our back just for a minute. So lie down on your back. We're going to do a couple of hip therapeutic exercises because all of us need help with our hips from time to time. And then we can learn these things. These are taught to us by Guruji in India in the medical classes and brought back to us by teachers who had assisted. So, we learn as teachers go to India, we learn all this when they come back. We're going to lie down on our back and we're going to just squeeze our knees into our chest, of course, at first. So get comfortable. But I would also say get centered. Don't let yourself be tilted sideways on the sticky mat. You want to be right in the center of your sticky mat. Because if you're centered physically, you will be more mentally centered. So breathe. And now you're going to hold your right knee into your chest and stretch your left leg out as we do. And that's an easy one, but this is a very good one for the lower back. I want to ask myself when I do poses like this, and you should think about this too. When you bring your right knee into your chest and your left leg is fully extended, beautifully extended, what happens to your right hip? Does it move closer to your armpit? Or can you keep it in line with the left hip? And the right answer is this. You have to keep your right hip lengthened. So you have to take a little awareness into the area between your waist and your hip on the right side and lengthen it. And then you might say, oh, maybe the knee came in too close. Maybe I need to make some other adjustments. Okay, now bring your left knee in and we'll try it on the other side, right leg out. There's never a moment where we're not trying to levelize, where we're not trying to align and be aware. So left knee is coming in. This will be a very different experience because hips are usually different side to side. So stretch through your right leg pretty consciously through the inner foot, through the inner leg. And then as you're bringing your left knee in, notice the left hip. Did it hike up toward the armpit area, or is it right in line with the right hip? So just see what you can do to lengthen from the waist to the outer hip. Now this is not so much a hip exercise that we're doing at the moment. This is a lower back exercise. Now bring both feet together on the floor in Tadasana. So you might need to bend your knees for a second and take your buttock flesh and extend it away from the rib cage, lower back area. I'm not asking you to flatten your back so much as to lengthen your buttock skin, lower back skin. And then once you feel like you've done that, bring your feet right together and breathe, and then take arms and stretch them to the side, palms up. So you're in a very extended legs, but broadened through the chest and arms and armpits. Breathe. Now we're going to take you have to have a little bit of imagination here. We're going to take our right ankle and we're going to put it through our left big toe, second and third toes. So you fit the back of your ankle, the Achilles essentially, between your big toe and the other toes. And if you can't do that, and if that just sounds ridiculous, just get your heel on top of your metatarsal and breathe. Yeah. Now you're going to take your left hand over to the right collarbone. And you're just going to put it there and rest it there. And only for the reason to keep that shoulder down. And now with your hips, with your legs, take your feet to the left. You're rolling to your left hip. You're rolling toward your left hip. Probably more onto the outer buttocks, right? If you came to the left hip, that's huge. So see what you can do, and then stretch through your legs. Stretch through your legs towards your feet. So your legs get tightly connected to each other and stretched away from the hips. And then breathe and come back to both buttocks and undo that foot. And then take your left arm and stretch it away from you. Breathing. And then we're going to take the right hand and put it on the left collarbone and the left Achilles or heel, ankle area, and put it between the big toe and the other toes, or somewhere, do your best. Because what we really want is that foot on top of the other one. That's essentially it. And then breathe. The left collarbone is being assisted to stay down by your right hand. And then you're going to turn toward the right, come toward your right hip. I say come toward it because it takes a minute to do that, and maybe you don't even come that far. You have to do what's best for you. Don't you feel the stretch through the front body and the legs, and then stretch toward the feet with your legs, really strong stretch in that direction, and breathe, and then come back to both buttocks and undo your feet so that your feet are just the way they were, and then breathe. And then spread your arms to the side and bring your knees up toward your chest. And then take your knees toward the right elbow, keeping your left armpit open and down on the shoulder. Left shoulder stays down. You should feel now like you did not change your top of your chest or your arms at all. Bring your knees back. Breathe. Breathe. And notice how you feel. Notice your lower back. Notice your hips. Go to the left with your knees, and then keep your right armpit, shoulder down, armpit open, breathing. And then come back to center. And then put your feet on the floor and extend your legs out again. And take your right foot and put it on the outside of your left knee. So the right foot comes to the outside of the left knee. So it's on the floor. But so your foot is crossed over the knee, and then just stretch toward your hips. Let your hips be level. Pin your hips in and just be there. And then undo that and take your left foot over the outside of the right knee. So it's on the floor. And it's really what's happening to your hips here. This is actually for the hips. Because don't you notice that we're always talking about the levelness of the hips. Draw your hips away from your armpit, inwardly toward each other, and stretch through that right leg and breathe. So, really you're stretching toward your hips and pinning your hips. And then undo with your left leg and straighten it out again. And now just bend your knees and roll over to the right side and come to your hands and knees. So now come to your hands and knees, and we're going to do dog pose. So when you do dog pose, you can use a chair. So I want to say that always, and this is an all levels class. So we have lots of options, and sometimes it's better to use a chair for your shoulders and your neck. So you make that choice. If you're joining me on the floor, then your hands and knees are on the floor. Your toes are turned under on the floor. Look down at your hands. And if you're on a chair, you look at your hands too. It's that index finger mound between the thumb and the first finger that likes to lift up a little bit. Press that down. Press that down. Broaden across the hands. Hands very conscious. And then lift up through the armpit area. So you feel like you're lengthening upward, your arms are getting longer, essentially, and then come to down facing dog with your heels up, knees can be bent, heels are way up. I think that's the best for everybody's back. Not if you're on a chair, of course. If you're on a chair, there's no point in doing that. Mostly if you're on a chair, you've got so much of this already because your torso is so lengthened on the chair. That's what we're trying to do from the floor. We're trying to lengthen our back. We're trying to lengthen our torso. The problem is that it's harder from the floor because, you have to push weight up toward your hips. And then we try to, this is good though. I'm looking at this. This is nice. All right, beautiful. And those of you on the chair, what I'd have to say is it gets better and better as I watch it. So this is excellent, you guys. Really nice. Breathe, stretch and breathe. That's the idea. And then what we're trying to do, and everybody seems to be really doing a good job of it, is lengthen that place in your back, probably around the lower rib area, maybe kind of the bra strap area, which we all know where that is. See, this is good. This is good, you guys. Breathe, stretch, lengthen. Great. I love that. Come down. I'm so glad I looked at that. That was really nice. So child's pose. Child's pose, the first child's pose, if your knees are bad, so Kelly, I think you should think about child's pose and maybe lie on your back and just squeeze your knees in and not try to do that unless you've been practicing it and it's okay. But for the rest of you that can be on your shins, knees wide, toes together, then you might put some support under you if you need it. That's for the first one. And then stretch your arms as long away from your hips as you can. This pose connects the buttocks to the heels. And if you need a little support between the two, that's what you need. You need to connect the buttocks to the heels, though. And I think that's always the best. Breathe. Breathe. And now come up. So that was a little break. We don't take a very big break. And come up, and we're going to come back. Everybody hands and knees now. Everybody comes to the hands and knees. Toes turned under, hands under the shoulders. When I say hands under the shoulder, knees under the hip, we're not doing dog pose. It's too short for dog pose. We're doing cat-cow. So hands down, toes turned under, knees on the floor. Hold your abdomen up a little bit, but lengthen it. Feel like your abdomen, your belly is long, but you're not letting it sag down too much because the abdomen is firm through the belly button. Round your back into the cat shape. Round your back up into the cat shape. When you do that, then your head just goes along with this. You're looking down between your knees probably. And then just rounding your back and noticing how that feels. And now hold your abdomen a little bit firm as you go toward the cow shape, taking your chest through your upper arms. So you're lengthening your spine, but you're curving your lower back. And the chest is lifted and the buttocks are lifted. So this is a nice cow, I guess. And then we come back to the cat. So we round our back up into the cat. We've all seen a Halloween cat. Just really rounding and enjoying it. It should feel good. And then the cow shape. So bring your chest forward. You don't really change your hips. It's just that they do change when you change your torso. I mean, there's a little more accentuated up. So armpit really is holding firm as the chest lifts through it. Okay, now come to your knees. So you're just going to bring come up to your knees. and you're going to bring your right foot forward into a low lunge. So you're on one knee, your left knee, and your right foot is going to be in front. And that's where a chair might be helpful. We're on the floor with our knee though. So we come from the knees, then we bring our foot down to the floor in front of us, the right foot, and then we put our hands on our waist. So we're in we're not really lunging, but this is the position for a low lunge. And then take your elbows toward each other, hands on your waist, elbows toward each other, chest up. So that will really change the back body. Now include the shoulder blade skin moving away from the neck to kind of toward the ribs. Just nice soft extension in the back body. Although it's curving upward, isn't it? The chest is really curving. And then take your hands beside you in Tadasana and just pull your hands down. Feel like you could maybe pull your hands toward the floor, intensifying the back bending feeling of this pose. And now if you can, bring your arms up over your head into this beautiful extension. Your hands go back behind your head. You're really curving your spine. Don't forget your right foot and your left foot and your left knee, of course. Center your spine. And then come back down, bring your arms down. And then come back to your hands and knees for a second. And then take your left foot forward. So you're still on your right knee. Your left foot comes forward. And then you put your hands on your waist. This is just a way of getting settled and centered. Because it might feel different on this side. So your right toes, your left foot, your right knee, and your spine. Your spine is an extension of your inner right leg. So consider it that way. And then lift your chest up as tall as you can. Draw your elbows toward each other. And then take your hands into Tadasana and pull your hands toward the floor. I mean, you won't get them to the floor, but pull them down and breathe. And then bring your arms up over your head if you can, and just stretch. So this big front body stretch. And then come back to hands and knees. And child's pose. So do a child's pose. In child's pose, now it might feel different. This is our second child's pose. So you might feel that you don't need as much support under your buttocks, or you might feel like you still do. Always taking care of yourself. That is your best bet. Take care of yourself. Breathe. Just breathe. Feel like the side body is giving you a lot of awareness, and just stretch through the, feel the stretch through the side body toward the hips and toward the fingertips. Just nice, long torso, very restful, very restful. And then breathe. And now come back up to hands and knees. So we're going to do cat-cow again. Well, no, we're not going to do cat-cow. I'm thinking a little differently. We're hands and knees, and now we're going to stretch our right leg away from our buttocks. So the right leg is off the floor, stretching, heel in line with the buttocks, left arm stretching forward. So right leg, left arm off the floor, stretching away from each other. Both sides of the torso getting a stretch because of that. Breathe. And now see if you could bring your right knee forward and your left elbow back and touch the two. See if you can touch your right knee to your left elbow. And then stretch both out again. And then bring your hand down and your knee down. Breathe. Were you breathing? Keep breathing. Now we're going to pick our left leg up, stretch our left foot away from our buttock. It's heel in line with the buttock, best you can do. Right arm stretches forward. And then is the balance the same on this side? For sometimes it's not, so just be aware of that. You still have to create that balance. Doesn't matter if it's there, you got to create it. And now bring your right elbow to your left knee, touch the two, and then stretch out again with your right hand and your left leg. and breathe. And then bring your hand down, your knee down. And then come to the low lunge again now. Bring your right, so you're on your left knee, your right foot is under your right knee, and you're in the lunge, and your hands are on your hips. I like to start that way because it gives you some awareness of the waist to the hip ratio on both sides. You would like to think that your hips are lining up, and if they're not, you need to create that. And then with your, just lift your chest, lift your chest, lift your chest, and breathe, and bring your arms up over your head. So low lunge, this would be like Virabhadrasana 1, wouldn't it? If our back leg was up and straight, this would be Virabhadrasana 1, but we're doing it from a low lunge. Open your armpits, breathe. Maybe your head though doesn't go back so far. You have to think about this. Should your head go in line with your upper arms or not? I'm not doing that. But now I want to bring my hands into prayer right in front of my belly. Lift the chest. Take your left elbow toward the right outer knee. Now, you got to think about it. It seems like, oh, that should be easy. Maybe not. Maybe it takes a couple of tries to get the left elbow to the outside of the knee. It does for me anyway, on one side more than the other. So lift your chest, breathe. Take your elbow a little lower. Now your hands are in prayer. You're going to look toward your hands in prayer, elbows lining up. Good luck with the balance. It's that right hip, the right hip would do anything to help. So it wants to lift toward the armpit. Don't let that happen. Keep that left hip back in line with the left, right hip in line with the left. And now come back to center with your hands in prayer, and then hands on the floor, back to hands and knees for a second. Then the left foot comes forward into the lunge. I'm calling it a lunge. We're not really lunging. If we were lunging, we would be going forward with the knee. We're not. We're trying to keep the knee over the ankle. I just call it a low lunge because I can't think what else to call it. And then lift your chest. Put your hands on your waist, elbows toward each other, chest up. And now notice the balance. I find it so interesting how balance could be so different side to side when you're just on one knee. But bring your arms up over your head into this Virabhadrasana 1-like experience. So your arms are stretching, armpits stretching, breathing. Bring your hands in prayer now in front of your sternum, in front of your belly, and turn toward the left and take your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. So it might be different this time. I'm going to mirror you, but I'm going to go the other way because it's just so nice to turn your torso, but you've got to get the left hip to stay kind of firm. And then your elbows line up over each other and you breathe. And then you come back to hands and knees. And now child's pose. So child's pose with arms extended out in front. We now usually call that forward Virasana when your arms are forward. And I want your arms forward now. And so Kelly, best of luck to you. Do what you need to do. Your arms stretching out. I want you to take your left hand now and move it under your right upper arm, and then start taking your left hand away from the torso, which is twisting, and stretch your right arm a little further. Harder to keep the hips and the heels together, but try to do that. Try to do that and breathe. And then come back to the center with your chest facing the floor again, arms outstretched, right arm over under the left upper arm, and lengthen and twist. And just beautiful. We all like this, and because we know what to do. So just be really comfortable and breathe. and then undo. Come back to your hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Use a chair if you need. Please use a chair if that's better for you. And if you before used a chair and now you don't want to, that's fine. But maybe you still feel good about that. So do whatever is best for you. But the whole idea here is to lengthen from the outer hands to the hips, and from the inner hands through the armpits up through the spine. Good, looks good, looks good. So we've all made our choice whether we need our heels up or whether we're ready to descend the heels. I think that's a decision you have to make based on whether you can keep your hips high. If you're on the chair, you just want to keep lengthening the waist toward the outer hips and toward the buttock area. Yes, I'm looking at you on the chair. That really adds just this little level of length that is beautiful. And of course, in regular dog, we're doing the same, and breathe, and breathe. And so now, whenever you're ready to come down, come down. But if you want to stay a little bit longer, stay a little bit longer. We are in an all levels class. Sometimes people want to come down sooner than others. So just do your best. Do your best. And then everybody come down and have a belt. So get a belt, and we're going to lie on our back. So have a belt, but just put it beside your sticky mat. So you're going to lie down so we're going to work on Supta Pada Gustasana. I want you to have near you as well a block and a bolster. So just have that near you. And then when you lie down on your back, just for my sake, for my mental sake, and center yourself on your sticky mat. So you're right in the center of it, and so that you get the feedback from the corners of the sticky mat how you should be. And then you're going to lie down on your back, but then you bend your knees a little bit and lengthen the lower back. Then you re-stretch your legs. Your inner feet should touch, and then stretch through the inner legs toward the inner balls of the feet. And now, just for a moment, if you can, and this might not be good for everybody, so just make your choice. Take your arms over your head if you think you would like that, and just pull your hands away from your feet. So you feel like just on your back, you're using your muscles to lengthen your whole body. So your heels move away from your calves a little bit, your hands just stretching your armpits. Breathe. And now keep all that and bring your arms back toward your hips again, and get that belt, which I, of course, didn't have near me, but get your belt. And then we're going to, with our left leg is going to stay down, we're going to bring our right leg up into Supta Pada Gustasana 1. So Supta Pada Gustasana 1 is the first position with the right leg up, the left leg really extremely long. So think now of your inner legs as aligning with your spine. So think of it that way, and make sure your inner leg on the left side is long, and your inner leg on the right side is long, and your spine is right in the center, and you have as much weight on your left buttock as your right, and breathe. So now take your heel and point it up and draw your toes toward your shin. And when you do that, you might feel your quadricep act, but you're really going to feel it now when you point your toe up. Point your toes up, and then that should even more intensify the stretch on the quadricep. And that's the thigh muscle at the front. And then relax your foot a little bit. Your foot is neutral, but your quadricep stays very, very firm. And try to make both legs as long as possible. Feel like your legs are just getting longer and longer and longer. And now take your left hand arm to the side. If you like to do that, palm up. You could also have your hand by your hip. Don't forget your inner right leg. Don't let that shorten. Keep your inner right leg long. Take your foot, your right foot a little closer to your face, and then off to the side, Supta Padangusthasana 2. So we're just taking our right leg off to the side and stretching both legs really intensely. You should feel like your left leg is participating as much as your right. Oh, well, Iyengar called the left leg the brain, the right leg the donkey. You know, he said that's showy, but it's the left leg that holds it all in place. Bring your right leg back up, transfer the belt to your left hand, feel the weight on both buttocks, take your right leg across the midline, coming closer to your left outer hip. Now, lengthen your buttock, your right outer hip away from your waist. And notice that you need to do that. We all need to do that. So that's really important. And now bring your right leg up, take the belt off, and just squeeze your right knee into your chest as tight as you can get it, stretching your left leg away. And then bring your right leg to join your left leg in Tadasana. If you're like me, you might want to take a peek. Oh, I'm level. Good. I want you to be level too. Bring your left leg up, put the belt on the left foot. The left leg is the extended upward leg now. The right leg, though, needs just as much attention to really lengthen, firm, breathe. I'm always in my practice trying to make my legs longer and also make sure that the top of the thigh skin on the extended leg up, that's the left leg, is firm and it's not puddling over the abdomen. You want, if you could, you'd like to take the top of your left thigh right at the very top as it meets the torso and lengthen it. And then take your right arm to the side, palm up. Bring your left foot a little further forward and then to the side. Keep your right buttock down. Keep your right side body just as it was as you take your left leg to the side. But this right leg is the brain. The right leg is holding the forward. Hold it and breathe. Your left leg will be so much happier if the right leg is firm. And then bring your left leg back up. Transfer the belt to your right hand. You can take your left hand to the side if you like that. Roll over toward your right outer hip. Your left leg is stretching, but now include the outer hip area from the waist to the hip on the left side lengthen. If you didn't need to do that, I'd be very surprised. I mean, most of us do need to do that. It is so helpful. And then bring your leg back up. Take the belt off and squeeze your left knee into your chest. Squeeze your left knee into your chest. And then undo and put the belt on the right foot. Take the right foot up. Right foot up, left leg down. Arms and legs long. So your right arm is holding the belt. Your right hand, probably the whole arm isn't, probably the hand. And then so the arm is really long, but you want to have your shoulder on the floor. That's what determines where the hand is holding the belt. Your left hand can be on the floor by your hip, or you can take it to the side, palm up, and breathe. Lengthen your inner right leg, lengthen your inner left leg. Legs are really tall and strong and firm through the quadricep. Bring the right foot closer to you. Take the right leg off to the side, Supta Padangusthasana 2, and breathe, stretching through your hands on the left side. Your left hand should be stretching so far away from the right leg. Keep that left outer side of your torso really down and strong. Bring your right leg back up, transfer the belt to the left hand, right arm to the side if you like that. Take your right leg over the midline, coming to, and now lengthen your outer right hip away from your waist. You need to do that. And then go a little further so that your lower back is so much happier when the hips stay aligned. And then bring the right leg back up. And you don't have to take the belt off this time. You could bend your right knee into your chest. You could take your right foot across the chest. You could take your belt into your right hand and put your arm behind your head and see if you can get your foot and your elbow on the right side closer or perhaps even connected. You lift your left foot off the floor and stretch it. So this is Supta Padangusthasana 3, where you're holding your shin in front of your chest, levelizing it, trying to levelize it. I've got your arm behind your head is holding your head up so that you don't have to strain your neck. And then undo that and stretch the right leg back up, and then bring the right leg down. Breathe. Bring the left leg up, stretch the left leg up. So again, Supta Padangusthasana 1, legs really strong, breathing. Take your right arm to the side, palm up. If you like that, you can keep your hand by the hip if you don't. Now the right leg, keep it really conscious. Take the left leg off to the left. So the left leg goes to the left. It's really going away from the right hand, which is stretching as far away from the armpit as possible. Your left outer hip and your left outer leg stay conscious. Breathe. Bring the left leg back up, transferring the belt to the right hand. Left arm can go to the side, go across the midline with your left leg. And then you get to a certain point and you have to lengthen your hip away from your waist on the left outer hip. You should feel that that side sacrum gets longer and you're going toward the right with your left leg, and bring your left leg back up. So now you can put the belt in your left hand, and you can bend the left knee, and you can bring the foot across the midline. So you're really taking the shin and trying to line it up with the chest and move the left knee away from you. And you can take your arm behind your head holding the belt, and then you can try to get your left foot into the elbow and pick your right leg up and stretch it. So this is a big, complicated way of saying hip work, getting the shin parallel to the chest, stretching the right leg, holding on to the back of the head with the arms so that your head is safe, breathing, undo all that, and bring yourself back down to the floor with both legs, both arms. And then roll over to the side for a second. We're going to go back into a very similar pose, but we're going to use a prop. Now, the way we just did it, the Supta Padangusthasana 1, 2, and 3, that was about muscles and bones and alignment. That, you feel that, and it's so good for our back. That's why we like this pose. Now we're going to do something slightly different, and we're going to take a bolster. So this is why I had you get a bolster, and I would actually want to put a belt on my foot. And we're going to come into Supta Padangusthasana 1. Supta Padangusthasana 2 is what I mean. So I don't know if you can see this, but my bolster's to my outer right hip. My right leg goes up into Supta Padangusthasana 1. My right leg goes to the side in Supta Padangusthasana 2. And so then the outer hip, outer thigh area of the right leg rests on the bolster. So then you hold the belt with your right hand. You can put your elbow on the floor, but the most important part here is to take your left arm and stretch it away from your armpit. So through the chest to the left arm, a lot of broadening. Now, with your awareness, lengthen your outer right hip away from the waist. You might even I have to take the buttock and move it a little bit south, and then I want the outer hip area to feel lengthened, both sides. But this is really about the inner body. This is really about the inner organs. So as you're here then, you want to feel like your inner organs didn't all go over to the right side. The spine stayed in the center. The inner organs spread to the side where they should be. And I want you to address this from your kidneys. Your kidneys are in your back. under, kind of right under the rib cage, toward the waist, either side of the spine, 2 kidneys, about the size of a fist. I want you to levelize them. I want you to have your right kidney as high off the floor as your left kidney. In other words, notice how your right kidney wants to just lie down on the floor. Don't do that. Roll more weight to the left leg. Breathe. This is really a good pose to do for awareness into the inner body, and to sometimes, just to be here. Because your right leg will stretch comfortably if it's supported on the outer hip. You see that. And then just stretch through your left arm and try to keep those kidneys level. That right kidney keeps wanting to relax, but it should stay up. That's because the left kidney's up. If the left kidney was down, go for it, but it's not. Your lower back is curved. Breathe. So this is kind of a relaxing form of Supta Padangusthasana too, from the insights of the inner body. Bring your right leg back up. Take the belt off. Squeeze your right knee into your chest. Stretch your right leg out. Move the bolster to the other side. So now you take the a big rolled up blanket, something that will give you support. Put the belt on your left leg. So you stretch your left leg out, your right leg out. Everything is, I have to adjust my buttocks. Maybe you do too. I feel like I want my spine to be long and my hips to be lengthened away from my waist. Then take the left leg to the side, resting the outer leg. Your hip, not so much, but it's the outer thigh on the bolster. Take your right arm to the side. Now notice if it's different this time, to try to center your spine, to try to imagine your inner organs being where they were. And then think of your kidneys and just try to levelize them. So there's 2 ways to levelize your kidneys. One is from how far off the floor they are and whether they're level. They're off the floor. Your kidneys are not on the floor. Your lower back's not on the floor. So the kidneys could be level in that way. There's also whether the left kidney has lifted toward the ribs. And if that's the case with your outer left leg and hip, you've got to lengthen away from the waist so that your kidney doesn't get out of whack that way. Stretch through your right leg. So just calm now, just calm. Just calm and breathe. Bring the left leg out. Take the belt off. Now roll to the side for a second. We're going to talk about what we're going to do next. So next we're going to take a block. And we're going to, the block is going to be to the outside of the pose, and we're going to come on to our right hip and put our left foot on the block. I don't know if this is at all, well, yeah, you can see that. My left foot is in line with my left hip. It's on the block. I'm on my left side body. I want my right leg stretched. I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to try to put it on the floor on the left side. I would like both arms to be extended and my chest centered. That's a little joke. Try to get your chest centered. So this is like Parivrtta Trikonasana, but it's also like crossing the midline that we do in Supta Padangusthasana. So lengthen your outer left hip away from your waist so that you're not drawing your hip up towards your armpit. Not that you would draw it that far, but it might want to hike up a little bit. Don't let it. And those of us with side sacrum problems and hip problems, it's really important to levelize the hips. But now your kidneys are levelized as well, but your left kidney is on top of your right kidney, right? That's what should be happening now. But your left armpit stretches to the side. So this is an interesting twist when you think of it this way. because your right leg is so strong and long, and your left leg is so strong and long, and your torso is right in the center twisting. And where is the twist coming from? You know, say, you know, it's really a low twist through the waist and ribs, isn't it? Because when you get to the chest and armpits, it's just broad. And breathe. And breathe. And now we're going to take I'm going to take my hands over to my left knee, and I'm going to roll back to my left buttock, but I'm going to have my knee safely in my hand, and then stretch your knee toward your chest and stretch your right leg out. And then we'll do that on the other side. So I'm just going to flip around so that I don't turn my back to you. Not that you can see me. If you can see me and you're lying on the floor, you've got talent. But now we're going to be on the left side body to start with. And we're going to stay on the left side body with our hip and our leg. And we're going to bring our right foot onto the block. And I've practiced this a lot over the years and a lot this week, so I know where the block goes. Yeah, I know for you, you're trying to figure out where that block should be, that you can rest your foot on it. And then you're going to try to take your right arm to the side onto the floor. This might be better, easier than the other side, and it might not be. So you learn a lot about yourself in yoga, don't you? Just physically. If you didn't learn about all your psychological issues, which you also learn, right? But here physically you learn, why is it that this is so different than the other side? Is it because of the shoulder area, or is it because of the hip area? So draw your outer right hip away from your waist. That's really important. That's so important for your lower back, and we need to learn that. So you're not really shortening the right side body at all. Your right outer hip is on top of your left outer hip. And then your kidney area should be lined up as well. Your right kidney now up, your left kidney now down. And so the twist isn't coming from that area so much. The twist really is coming through the upper ribs in a way, and then into the armpits, toward the arms. But your chest, like that, have changed. Most of the pictures of Mr. Iyengar, or when I saw him too, whatever pose he was in, he always looked like he was in Tadasana from the waist up. He just maintained that beautiful look of Tadasana, and you should think about that here. Breathe. Now, we're going to come out of this, but we're going to do that safely by taking both hands around our right knee, or reaching for it, and then bending the right knee up as we roll onto the right thigh, and squeeze that knee into your chest and breathe. And now we're going to do, of course, and you won't be surprised. Well, first of all, lie on your stomach. Roll around to your stomach and lie on your stomach. And you might want you just relax. We're not doing anything exciting. We're relaxing. Our forearms are maybe bent, our elbows bent, and our head on our forehead on the forearms maybe. Just take your left leg and inch it away from your hip. Take your right leg and inch it away from your hip. Turn your toes under. Bring your hands by your chest, elbows tucked in toward your ribs, and then lift your chest up, downward facing dog from the stomach. And then get your chair if that's better for you. Use your chair. Or you could try dog pose from the floor and try that, but you always want to take care of your neck and shoulders, that's for sure. Breathe. Breathe. Downward facing dog from the chair or the floor. But either way, from the little finger side of the hand to the hips, nice long side body. And then that will encourage your spine to lengthen and your abdomen to be long. Although you have to hold your abdomen up a little bit probably, and breathe and breathe. Now, we're gonna walk our feet forward so that they come under our hips. And we're gonna stretch our hands out away from that. So we're in what I call a very extended Uttanasana. So I know Uttanasana typically has the torso folded toward the legs, but that we're not quite ready for. So we want to lengthen our front body and our side body as long as we can, firm the legs. See if you think, I know my legs now, I have to move my hips back over my heels. See if you have to do that. See if whether that needs to happen. Yeah, because this is Uttanasana, and sometimes the hips come forward and sometimes they go too far back, but you want them right over the heels. And now walk your hands back towards your feet, and your hands are both on the floor, and lift your right leg straight up. Urdhva Prasarita Ekapadasana, which is Urdhva upright, Prasarita extended, Ekapada 1 foot up. So leg is up, and we're in Uttanasana now. Now your chest is a little closer to your leg, isn't it? And then breathe and bring that foot down. So your arms are where they need to be for support. And then lift your left leg up. Urdhva Prasarita Ekapadasana. 1 leg lifted up. And then, of course, that implies that the standing leg is all you got here. And try to draw your torso close to your thigh and firm your thigh on the right side and breathe. And then bring your left leg down. And then bring your hands back towards your feet. Take your hands back towards your hips, palms up. Lift your chest, firm your thighs. Inhale and come up. And then come to downward facing dog. From the chair or the floor, either way is fine. And now your hips, if you're using a chair, your hips really are over your feet, probably. That's the way it works. If you're from the floor, of course, your hips are not over your feet. Your hips are, you're in the regular downward facing dog. Either way, chair or floor, feel the length and openness of the armpits, and take your rib cage away from your armpits and just make your abdomen nice and long, and breathe. And then bring your feet a little closer to each other. Move your left foot to the right and your right foot to the left. Your feet will line up. Now you're in a tripod. Lift your right leg up. If you're from the floor, just lift it way up. If you're from the chair, just lift it way up. Yeah, great. Stretch it. That left leg is your standing leg. Bring that leg down. Both feet together. Downward facing dog in the tripod position. Left leg up, and just stretch it and enjoy it. And then bring that leg back down, and then bend your knees and come down. And if you're on the chair, bend your knees and come down. So you can sit back in Vajrasana, or you can sit in simple crossed legs, just be comfortable for a second. So we've been doing a lot of different things, but now just sit tall, Feel like you're tall, and your spine is lengthened and your shoulder skin is moving down. But now we're going to come back to either the chair or the floor for downward facing dog. So, and we're going to work on dog pose, plank, 1 leg up. So if you're coming from the floor, that's fine. If you're coming from the chair, that's fine. Both are just great. Downward facing dog. Lengthen, 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 lengthen. So you're trying to lengthen your hips away from your armpits, either way, a chair or not. Breathing. Come forward into plank. You can do plank on the chair too. You just bring your shoulders over your hands. You stay long with your legs. Yeah, good. Not up dog. Don't take your thighs down. Keep your thighs engaged up. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now come back to dog and lift your right leg up. So it's just a little flow. And then bring your right leg down. Downward facing dog. Come forward into plank. So in plank, you don't, it's not up dog, it's plank. And then come back to downward facing dog, lifting your left leg up. So just left leg really strongly up, and then take your left leg down and walk your feet forward and bring your hands back. And so now try to get your hips over your heels. Try to get your hips over your heels, breathing. And then take your hands back closer to your feet. So your legs have to get tall, tall, tall. Your abdomen has to get pretty distinct as opposed to the legs. Your legs and your abdomen doing very different things. Try to get your hands closer to your feet. If this is really hard on your back, then keep your hands outstretched. Uttanasana is a work in progress, isn't it? It's something that we work on, but we are kind to ourselves because it's all about the hamstrings and the back. So just be in Uttanasana best you can be. If that's okay for you, breathe. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. What happens, of course, is the middle back kind of gets worried and kind of pushes away from the front line. Try to be a little gentle with yourself, but lengthen your waist to your ribs to your armpit. And bend your knees, because that goes right into your hamstrings. You can see the resistance to this. Breathe. Head down, relax. Take your hands back by your hips, firm your thighs, lift your chest, inhale, and come up. And now we're going to come to the floor again. So I'm going to move my sticky mat this way. We're going to need a couple of blankets, perhaps. And we're going to use a chair if we need it. So let's talk. Let's talk about what you need. Let's sit down in Dandasana to start with. So sitting down in Dandasana so that you'd be, of course, just be centered on your sticky mat. Be centered. So you might need something under your buttocks for Dandasana. Not everybody does. It depends on the hamstring flexibility. So you be comfortable. So if your hamstrings don't like to be in Dandasana, you have to sit up. And then you can look at your knees and maybe make sure that they are level and that one isn't rolling in and one isn't rolling out. So that Dandasana, staff pose, hands beside the hips, arms are really long because your side body is lifting up and your chest is lifting, shoulder skin rolling down. Breathe. Now what we're going to do, and so those of you with any knee problems, I just want to say, you're definitely going to want to sit up higher. And so now I am going to sit on a little blanket. I just need one, but you might need two. And then some of us are going to need a chair. So I'm just saying. And then we're going to, and I'm going to mirror you. We're going to sit on our buttocks on the blanket, but we're going to bend our right knee back. Janu Shirshasana legs. So Janu Shirshasana legs means that the knee on the right side is going to be in line with the hip. So knee problem people, I gotta say, this might not be the best thing for you to do. And if that's the case, what you could do is just straighten your right leg out. So you're in essentially the look of Viparita Dandasana, except you're going to turn toward your left leg with your torso. If your knee is bent into Janu Shirshasana, then just make sure it's okay. The knee needs to be down. And so for some of us, maybe that's where another blanket would go under the knee. That's just thinking. So put your hand on your right knee. And if you're in the wider leg position, do the same. And then turn your whole torso away from that leg over toward the outstretched left leg. So, and it isn't just that you're turning your torso, you're trying to bring your torso over. So your torso starts in the center, your spine is in the center, but then you want to move your torso a little bit over the left buttock and then stay tall. And now take your, this is just going to be easy, don't worry. You're going to take your right arm up and you're going to reach for the outer left leg somewhere. Maybe the outer calf, maybe the outer knee, maybe the outer ankle, maybe the outer foot, one of those. You're going to do that. And other hand is beside you like a prop. And the prop is helping you put weight into that right knee and to center your spine. So you have to take your spine and try to center it and think of those kidneys again. Think of those kidneys. Now they're just trying to be as level as possible, except you're starting to turn. So your kidneys are starting to change a little bit, breathing. We're not going into the full pose. We're staying quite extended through the torso. And now take your, wherever your hand was on your left leg, take it away and put it beside your hip again. And then bring that, so we're very careful with that knee that's been down. We bring it up and we straighten it out. And then we say, how is that? How is that? So we want to be careful with our knees. And if you think, oh boy, maybe I need more support, have it. We're going to go to the other side now. So we're going to sit on our blanket support and our right leg is going to be extended and our left knee is going to be bent and our foot is typically in this pose, the extended knee foot, that's your left foot, heel comes to meet the inner leg on the same leg. That's the way it goes if things are going well. And that's for your knee, pretty much for your knee. If that doesn't work, you could have a little space between your foot and your leg, perhaps. If that doesn't work at all, straighten that leg. And then put your hand on your left knee and press it down. So you're not, it's kind of lifts a little bit. Keep it down and turn away from it. Turn away from it in line with your right leg. Your spine should feel centered. I know when you're turning away from something, you have to, first it takes you a second to center your spine, but do center your spine. Then not only are we centering our spine, we're going to try to move our torso a little over the right buttock, a little bit. And then breathe, keep pressing your knee down. What you're doing by pressing your knee down is hoping it will stay down. Because you're going to take your hand and do something else. Try to keep that knee down with your mind. You can take your arm up and then reach for something. It doesn't have to come to your foot because maybe that's not the right thing. Outer knee, outer shin, outer ankle, outer foot, whatever it is for you. But when you do that, this other knee has to be extended and down and your chest is lifted. We're not trying to round forward. That would be the second part of the pose. And the first part of the pose is we're just kind of getting to that area. Lift your chest, lift your chest. So today, because of the week that we're in, is forward bends and twists. So this practice today has been my take on it. And this is the forward bending part of it. And Uttanasana was as well. Keep your chest lifted, breathe. And then undo. And hold on, you're going to come back up with your torso. Then you're going to hold on to your left knee and bring it up. You just want to be really nice to your knees and stretch your leg out. And so I hope you've all made the correct choice in terms of how you want to proceed. But we're going to try that one more time. So now we're going to sit on our same lift, but we're going to bring the right knee back, or we're going to stretch the right leg out. I'm going to take a peek now. Get yourself set up so I can look at you. Maybe I can't see your hips, but I just want to see how we're doing. And if we're getting enough support. See, some of you are really flexible. Good, Kelly, you're doing what I would suggest. Does that work for you? Okay, good. All right, that looks good, guys. It's hard to keep that knee down, isn't it? That's what I'm seeing. Some of you, of course, are flexible. That's no problem. Jackie, good. You're doing what you're supposed to do for yourself. Good. Okay. Nice, everybody. All right. So now we're going to try again to come into this pose of Janu Shirshasana. by holding that right knee down. The right heel should be close to the inner right leg, right near the groin practically. But if that doesn't work for you, you can hold it out a little bit. It's the extended leg now. Turn toward it with your torso. Turn toward it with your torso and lift your spine up. You notice that, you can still find room to lift. And then take your right hand to the outside of your left leg somewhere, holding on to your foot, your ankle, your shin, or breathe. And now, if we can, this other arm, your left arm, is going to come and join and hold on to your foot or to your outer knee or to your outer ankle. Both arms are going to stretch toward the outstretched left leg, and and it's going to help you lift your torso. It's going to help you stretch your chest forward. So this is just the first part of Janu Sirsasana, and we're not going to do the second part of it, but you can see that the more length you get on your torso, the easier it would be to rest. But you can't rest your torso on your leg unless it's extended. So we're just doing the extended part. Just lift, lift, lift. Breathe. So I feel like the leg that I'm holding on to, the foot or the knee or whatever, that is helping me lift my chest. And now take your hands away from that, move your hands back towards your hips, take your hands to your knee and bring your knee up and stretch it out. And we'll go to the second side. So it's a knee pose. I know I see that you're making your right choice. I like that. Bring your left leg, bend your left knee, bring your left foot towards your inner left leg. So your left knee is going to have to stay down. You're going to try to keep it down and turn toward your outstretched right leg. So, stay tall. It's always something to think about. And especially in forward bends, you think in forward bend, I have to sit tall. Yes, especially so, because you want your side body to be equal. And then we're going to reach for the, we can bring our arm up, or you just reach out and knee, shin, ankle, foot, whatever it is. And then obviously you have to re-lengthen and recenter. And then take both hands and hold your foot, your knee, your ankle. So that when you do that, then you lift your chest up away from that action. Take the shoulder skin down in the back. Take the shoulder skin down in the back. And breathe. I never said what to do with the chair, but if you need the chair, you would be holding on to it, right? Chest up. And then bring your hands back towards your hips. Take your hands to your left knee, bring your left knee up and straighten your leg out. So, we just see how that feels, and breathe. And now we're going to take the chair for sure, and I'm going to move to the side. I'm going to take my sticky mat set up to the side, but we're going to do Janu Sirsasana, Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana with a chair. So we don't have a lot of time, but I'm committed to this, so we are going to do it, because we love this pose, and especially with the chair. So have what you need support-wise for your hips and your knee, and draw the chair in front of you. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to sit on your blanket and bring the chair kind of over your lower legs. So you've got the chair in place already. And then we're going to take our right knee and we're going to bend it to the side and even further back. So the interesting thing about Janu Sirsasana, I don't know if you can see this. I've got to see if you can see this on mine. Maybe I need to move this up a little bit. The thing about Janu Sirsasana and Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana, they're connected, of course, but in Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana, your right knee goes further back. Yeah, you can see that. You can see that. That in Janu Sirsasana, the knee was right out of the hip. In Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana, it's further back. You widen the distance between your two knees, and you turn toward the outstretched, the bent right knee, you turn toward it with your torso. You twist toward it. And then you take your left arm underneath the chair toward the back of it. So you can hold on to your ankle, but some of our chairs have a little rod back there you can hold on to. Now, I didn't get another blanket for my head, but I'm going to. I like to put my head on the chair seat with my ear resting on a blanket. And then you reach for your ankle or back of the chair, and then you turn your torso. So you're really on the side of your left ear. And then lift your right arm up if you can, if this works for you, and bring your arm over toward the top of the chair and hold it and twist. Twist away from your left leg. And your top arm, maybe it's reached the top of the chair, maybe it hasn't. But whatever you're doing, just twist and breathe and lengthen. That right knee needs to stay back and down. And just a nice, nice twist. And then take your hand from over your head and put it back on the chair seat and turn down toward the chair seat with your face and bring your right knee and straighten the right leg. We're going to go to the other side. I'll flip my chair around and do it the other way, but we're just going to the other side. So we sit first in kind of that Dandasana. Then we start bringing the left knee back. So when you bring the left knee back, it starts like Janu Sirsasana, but it goes further. You want a little bigger distance between both knees because this is the way we're using the chair. So it's not so obvious why we would need that, but it helps. So we're bringing the chair in a little closer now, but first let's turn toward the bent knee. Let's turn our chest, our ribs, and keep stretching out through the extended right leg. So the right leg says, well, I'm going to stay really extended as you turn toward the left knee. And then you take the right arm under the chair and reach for your ankle, your foot, or I'm just going to hold on to the chair bar back there. And then I put my elbow toward my knee. And so, of course, the tendency is to turn your torso toward the right thigh, but move your chest in the opposite direction away from your right leg. And then breathe. And then bring your left arm up and reach over your head for the bar, for the upper back part of the chair, and hold it and to help you twist. So your head is on the chair seat, I hope, and your head is rested on something comfortably. Metal would not be good. And then just twist. Your extended right leg is never changed. Your bent left knee never changed. It's the torso right in the middle of all that that's twisting and breathing and extending. Breathe. And then take your upper arm away from the top of the chair and put it on the chair seat for support to help you press yourself up and turn toward the chair and straighten your left knee, and both legs are straight. And then we're going to go to Shavasana, and we've got this chair. So it is possible that you would want to put your calves on the chair seat. You could. And whatever you like for Shavasana, that's my best advice. Whatever you like is how you should do it. I like Shavasana many, many different ways, but the best part of it is letting go. So when you get there, it's so nice to know Shavasana, to experience Shavasana. So Shavasana is our final pose today, and we're going to enjoy it. So lie down, be comfortable, have your head resting on something soft. Maybe, usually for most of us, it's a blanket under the head. Sometimes if our back bothers us in any way, and whether it does or not, it's so nice to put the legs on the chair or a bolster under your knees. That just softens your low back. But you can soften your low back if your legs are extended as well. It's just a beautiful pose. Once you get there, just sink down. The back body skin really relaxes. The front body skin really drapes. Your face, relax your face. Completely soften your face. So relax your face enough that the skin feels like it's just no muscle at all in your facial skin. That's unusual because we use our face for communication all day long. But now we really release that and rest your tongue on the lower palate. Your arms can be just spread to the side, palms up. I like that, palms up. We always say palms up because if you turn your palms up, that does rotate your upper arms correctly so that your armpits are open and your chest is broader. That's why we do that. So, but it's also receptive. You know, it's sort of receptive to the Shavasana to have your arms the way they are. Breathe. Let your shoulder skin relax now. And now you're noticing more of the torso, back of the torso. So your shoulder skin should get very soft. Your buttock skin very soft. So where you're feeling yourself against the floor, the back of your head, the back of your shoulders, your buttocks, probably your calves, your heels, even if you're on the chair, relax all that. Relax all that. By relax, we mean let go. No muscle. Just let the skin completely soften, the flesh completely release away from the bone, the muscle to not work at all, so that everything is just very, very soft. Nothing is working. From the center of your chest toward the elbows, toward the armpits and elbows and hands, just feel broad, soft openness. Openness is the word. Open to this experience of Shavasana, which is so soft, recognizing how soft it is. Right across the center of your waist, belly button toward the sides of the waist, relax so that the front of the ribs relax, the pelvis relaxes, the skin on the pelvis just relaxes. The legs are heavy. The legs are heavy. And the arms are too. Breathe. The breathing is beautiful. Inhale, exhale. It's certainly getting, the breath gets a little softer and a little more shallow. That's fine. It's just going right along with the activity. Just breathe. And it'll do the right thing. Letting go. Letting go. Let your face relax from the hairline to the eyebrows, relaxing down. And let your face relax from the center of your face, the bridge of your nose, toward your temples, toward your earlobes, toward your jaw, just letting go of your facial muscles. And then your tongue rests on the lower palate, which we repeatedly say because if your tongue is resting to the upper palate, that equals tension. If your tongue relaxes to the lower palate, that is relaxing. We want to be relaxed and centered. Feel now centered. From the spine toward the appendages, your legs, your arms, your head, just breathe. Just let go. Go inward. We are inward. We're deeply inward now. This is the best part of the practice because we are coming home now toward our central nervous system. All of the activities we've done have led up to this moment where we have done so much to extend and lengthen and twist and turn. And now we're just softening and letting go. Just let go. Be sure you're happy here, that this is the way to be. Letting go, tongue on the lower palate. Resting. It's a deep rest. It's a very deep rest. We go almost to the edge of sleep, but not any further. Let go. And then with your awareness on your breath, bring your awareness to your inhalation and slightly deepen it. So bring your inhale in at a little bit deeper respiration rate, and then your exhalation will follow. And again, a slightly deeper, fuller breath so that you're really coming back to your day. And then the exhalation, just nice and relaxed. Bend your elbows, put your hands on your abdomen, and thank your body. And when you're ready, you just, no hurry, but when you are ready, just roll over to the right side, resting with your head on your arm. So when you're resting on the side, you can sort of keep a little bit of the Shavasana with you. When you press your hands down and use strength to come back up, keep a little bit of the Shavasana with you. Then you come to a seated position. Now we're back into our day, but we feel different. Bring your hands in prayer. Namaste. I bow to the goodness within you. And I really do. You know, it keeps us all going that we're together doing yoga, being good, enjoying, I hope.